Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the SJPC cast. With me today is Ember Ward. Hi, Ember. Thank you for joining us today on the cast. Ember is a part of the Sacramento Rise Hub, which we will be talking about in just a moment. But just to kind of set the table for today's episode, there are no meetings on Tuesday at city or county. So enjoy doing something more fun and less depressing with your Tuesday this week. But because of that, I actually ran into Ember at an event last week, and I felt very fortuitous because the work that Ember is doing with Rise Hub is very, very similar to the work that we're doing here at with Social Justice Politicore. So I thought this might be a great opportunity to bring Ember on and kind of have him kind of walk our listeners through what they do and see if maybe there's some opportunities for crossover plugin. So anyway, Ember, take it away. Tell us all about Rise Hub and kind of what the purpose of it is and how it works.
Thank you so much, Skylar. Hi, everyone. My name is Ember Ward. I use he, they pronouns. So the RISE Hub, it stands for Regional Immigration Support and Empowerment Hub. And through this hub, it's a response to the current federal administration's active increase in immigration enforcement across California. So it's a statewide coalition. There are 11 regional hubs that were established across the state to support local immigration communities and ensure that there's a coordinated infrastructure in place in each region for immigrant families, rather. So the hub is not necessarily a physical space. It's a centralized coordination mechanism for service providers within the hub network to effectively leverage resources, to share critical information, and to identify and adopt best practices to help communities respond to immigration enforcement and the impact that it has on individuals, families, and communities overall. So the Opening Doors is a leading agency within the hub, and then we have four agencies underneath us, which are NorCal Resist, California Immigration Project, La Familia, and CARE. And essentially with that, we have the whole rapid response network that we have goals to basically strengthen existing regional systems so that there is swift, informed, and community-led responses to enforcement and to emerging crises, and to also expand legal aid and pro bono and low bono work overall. So I'll stop there for a moment if you have any questions or anything.
Yeah, just so I mean, obviously this is amazing work being done at a time when it is extremely, extremely necessary. If our listeners are hearing this and want to kind of reach out and maybe throw some time in or throw some resources in, what's the best way for them to contact y'all and kind of get plugged into the work that y'all are doing?
Yeah, so you can go to sacrisehub.org. On there, there is a button to volunteer. There are two ways to volunteer. You can either volunteer on a non-legal capacity if you're not an attorney, and that way we will get you connected to other hub partners who do work, such as NorCal Resist or La Familia, who do work in community education spaces. And then we're also piloting a program for immigration attorneys or non-immigration attorneys to support our rapid response network. For example, if there is a immigration raid, the amount of attorneys that we have currently is not enough. It's not sufficient for us to meet the moment. So we're trying to meet the moment by increasing the training that goes into those attorneys so that they can be a part of this larger network.
Okay, awesome. It also occurs to me that so the event that I ran into Ember at last week was to promote the Joe Cerna Jr. Immigrant Defense and Resiliency Fund. So I might as well just plug that here while we're talking about it. That is, if you donate right now, there's an endowment that will match your donation up to $100,000 total. But that money basically gets spread out through to groups like Sac Rise Hub, but also NorCal Resist, the California Immigration Project, Opening Doors, a few others. So it's a really if what you have is some money to contribute to the thing to help these groups move forward, it's a good way to do it because your money is automatically doubled as soon as you give. So that would be I'll link this in the show notes, but the Joe Cerna Jr. Immigrant Defense and Resiliency Fund is a good way to go for that.
Yeah, and also want to mention we do meetings every other month, and those are welcome to the public to attend as long as they're sort of vetted through a little process online. But there is going to be a meeting on April 13th. The focus of it is schools and how schools are ready for immigration enforcement if it does come to that point, and kind of what schools can be prepared for, how they can protect their immigrant students and their students of color. So that is definitely something that we are really excited about having.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all I really have for today, Ember. Where can folks find you and the Rise Hub online?
So if you want to find me specifically, you can go at info@sacrisehub.org, and then sacrisehub.org for any other volunteer opportunities, or if you just want to check us out further.
Awesome. Well, Ember, thank you so much for jumping on with us today, and definitely I hope that we can work more closely together, kind of moving forward as we wade into whatever 2026 has in store for us for local SAC politics. So,
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.